If you've made it 23 years so far without encountering the Creeper, then you better start watching your back because it's time for the Creeper to prowl once again. Hello people and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about one of the most iconic movie monsters of all time, the Creeper, aka the Organ Vampire. This ancient predator resurfaces every 23 years to hunt humans for 23 days, and it uses a bunch of crude weapons from his medieval arsenal, mostly made of human bones and flesh, to torture and carve out its victims. The Creeper also drives a weaponized truck filled with spears and daggers, which means an encounter with this beast is your one-way ticket to hell. So, are you brave enough to venture into the Creeper's dungeon full of weapons? Let's find out. Before we get into our explanation, though, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Meet the Creeper. First, here's a little introduction to the star of the show, the Creeper. It's the predatory serial killer of the Jeepers Creepers film franchise that began in 2001 and got its fourth installment in 2022. This creature is a demonic monster and an ancient being that eats human organs to replace its malfunctioning parts to retain its nigh immortality. The Creeper goes into a secret hibernation for 23 years, after which it emerges to satiate its hunger and replenish itself by feeding on corpses for 23 days before going into hibernation once more. The comics that elaborated on the Creeper's origins depicted the creature as immortal, who has survived for centuries following an endless loop of its murderous ritual by harvesting humans and eating their organs. The Creeper's arrival is signaled by the presence of crows, hundreds and hundreds of them. During the time of the Aztecs, the Creeper performed the first human sacrificial ritual, and when the Europeans discovered the new lands later, the Creeper slaughtered the first influx of them as well. Thus, the Creeper comes with a reputation of wiping out entire civilizations and storing fragments of its victims' souls inside its body. The film series depicts the Creeper as a trench coat-clad, hat-wearing monster that dresses like a man to blend in with the crowd. But beneath its cloaked appearance, the Creeper has coarse reptilian skin, protruding spine bones, a pair of wings, claws on its feet, wispy white hair, and a mouth lined with fangs. The Creeper's head is also lined with spikes, which are connected by a thin membrane to make it look like a scary crown. The Creeper only unfurls this appendage when scared or to intimidate his opponents, giving itself an even more demonic look. It possesses superhuman strength and durability, psychic abilities, the power to smell fear, and some pretty scary taxidermy skills. Here are some fun facts about the Creeper. It loves to smell its victims before killing and storing them, it operates out of a secret lab on its own, drives a worn-down truck with the number plate reading BEATNGU, and loves to whistle the tune to the song Jeepers Creepers. This iconic villain was famously played by actor Jonathan Breck in all three movies written and directed by Victor Salva. In the 2022 reboot directed by Timo Vuorensola, actor Jaro Benjamin played the Creeper. The Creeper's storyline across movies. Jeepers Creepers 1. The Jeepers Creepers franchise began with Victor Salva's 2001 film, named after the 1938 song Jeepers Creepers, originally sung by Louis Armstrong. The movie instantly became one of the most beloved slasher films of the era and eventually attained the status of cult classic. It begins with Trish and Derry Jenner driving through the North Florida countryside on their way back home for spring break. Along the way, they're tailgated by a rusty old truck which honks fiercely at them, and later, they see the cloaked and hooded driver of the truck dumping corpses into a pipe by an abandoned church. Despite Trish's warnings, Derry goes back to the spot and accidentally falls through the pipe into a dungeon filled with smoke and potions and containing preserved human corpses, as many as 500 or 600 of them. Inside, he also discovers the mutilated but perfectly preserved corpses of a couple, Kenny and Darla, who went missing 23 years ago. In a panicked state, Derry and Trish drive into the local bar seeking help, but nobody takes them seriously except for a mysterious caller, the local psychic named Giselle. She premonitions that the Jenner siblings are in danger and one of them is about to be hunted by a mysterious predator. The Jenner siblings convince the cops to follow them to the church, but on the way, the cops get the news that the church has been set on fire. Meanwhile, a monstrous predator, aka the Creeper, kills the cops escorting the Jenner siblings, and they witness the Creeper eating the tongue of a beheaded police officer. The Jenners drive away and stop at a farmhouse, where the Creeper tracks them down and kills the owner, feisty old cat lady. As the Creeper chases Trish and Derry, Trish manages to run the monster over with her car, but it sprouts wings and flies away into the darkness. As the Jenner siblings reach the Poho County Police Station, The psychic character Giselle meets them there and explains that the creeper rises from its deep slumber every 23rd spring and eats people and their organs to replenish its body parts. She also explains that the creeper tracks its prey by smelling the fear in them. The creeper soon breaks into the station and causes a bloody massacre before flying away with Derry. Trish pleads with the monster to take her instead, but the creeper sees no fear in Trish's eyes and goes for the weaker sibling. As the night passes, Trish asks Giselle if Derry would be dead by now, and the scene shifts to an abandoned factory area with Derry's haunting screams echoing through the emptiness. In the final scenes, the creeper is seen at work on a sewing machine at its makeshift workshop, with Derry's preserved corpse hanging nearby. The creeper has removed the back of Derry's head, leaving empty holes into the eye sockets. The creeper then peeks through the eye holes into the camera, revealing what he wanted from Derry was his eyes. In the post-credits scene, the creeper can be seen driving around in his truck, the BEATNGU, on the hunt for more victims. Jeepers Creepers 2. The second movie, also written and directed by Victor Salva, was released in 2003. This one too is set in the same spring, just 3 days after the events of the first film. The movie begins on day 22 of the creeper's hunt, when it disguises itself as a scarecrow on Jack Taggart Sr.'s farm and flies away with his younger son Billy. The creeper accidentally drops one of its bone daggers, prompting Jack Sr. and his son Jack Jr. to create a harpoon gun with the dagger attached to it. On day 23, a bus full of Bannon Bantam's basketball players, their coaches, and the cheerleaders drive through Florida's East 9 Highway. The creeper stalls the bus twice by shooting bone shuriken into the tires. As the coaches and the bus driver discover the shuriken, they realize they're made of bone and sense that they're being followed by a prowler. Back on the bus, the students hear a radio broadcast about an abandoned church being discovered, which contained more than 500 preserved corpses. Some of them are over 200 years old and are missing body parts. Back in Poho County, the police have finally discovered the creeper's lair. Meanwhile, the creeper begins its hunt around nightfall and attacks Coach Charlie, who was lighting flares outside the stranded bus. The creeper flies away with the driver, Betty, and returns to attack Coach Barnes. The students form a human chain to keep Barnes from being taken away, but to no avail. Panicked at what they just saw, a monster with wings and talons, the students broadcast radio signals asking for help. The creeper keeps returning to the bus to smell the fear in the students and pick out his next victim. The creeper's presence prompts the student Minxie to go into a trance and experience visions of Derry Jenner from the first film, who tells her the creeper awakens every 23 years to hunt for 23 days, and that it's been around for thousands of years and nothing's been able to kill it. The monster breaks through the roof of the bus and tries to take the student Bucky, but Rhonda shoves a javelin into its face and leaves it wounded. Soon, the creeper awakens and decapitates Dante, and the students watch as the creeper eats Dante's head to replace its own damaged one. The students had earlier seen fences in the distance, and they began to run across the field, hoping there would be a farm nearby where they could take shelter. But they're picked off one by the creeper and killed in unique ways, either with the shuriken or by the creeper's talons. Meanwhile, the students' distress signal is picked up by Jack Sr. and Jack Jr., who are out there with their truck and the harpoon to kill the creeper and avenge Billy's death. They chance upon Minxie running through the highway, who leads them to the bus, with the creeper hovering over it. After an epic stare-down between Jack Sr. and the creeper, Jack drives the spear-headed harpoon through the monster, but fails to retract the rope attached to it. The creeper manages to flee the scene and chases after Dee and his friends, who are running away in an abandoned car that they manage to jumpstart. Dee wounds the creeper by flinging flares at its wings, and they all crash into the nearby field. As the creeper attempts to eat Dee, Jack Sr. shoots a harpoon across its forehead and stabs it multiple times through the heart. As the clawed hood closes around the creeper's face, everyone assumes the creature is dead, but Minxie says it's simply going into hibernation for the next 23 years. It is on display at Jack Sr.'s farm as a horror attraction. It's named Bat Out of Hell, and anyone can see it for $5 a visit. When a group of teens attempt to touch the shriveled and dried up creeper, an aged Jack Sr. warns them not to. In the final scene, Jack Taggart sits guard in front of the creeper with his old harpoon gun directly aimed at the creeper's heart. He's waited 23 long years for the beast to awaken and finally finish it off. When the teens ask how much longer he'll have to wait, Jack Sr. says, about 3 more days, give or take a day or two. Jeepers Creepers 3. The third film, also written and directed by Victor Salva, serves as an interquel between the first 2 Creeper movies. Jeepers Creepers 3 begins with a flashback scene where Kenny witnesses the creeper's hunt, after which the creeper's severed hands land on his car hood. Kenny hides them on his farm, but later gets killed by the creeper along with his wife Darla. If you remember, in the first film, the Jenner siblings mentioned that Kenny and Darla went missing from Poho County, and Derry later found their corpses in the Creeper's lair. Now the film shifts to 23 years later, right after the Creeper has killed Derry. The Poho County cops have discovered the Creeper's booby-trapped truck, BEATNGU, filled with torture tools. Sergeant Davis Tubbs sends it to be impounded, but Sheriff Tashtego warns him that the Creeper will steal the truck on the way, and that's exactly what happens. In a dramatic scene, the Creeper frees the BEATNGU from the carrier vehicle and rides away on top of it. Later, it returns to abduct the transport vehicle driver, leaving Deputy Officer Lang, who was accompanying the vehicle, speechless. Meanwhile, Kenny's mother, Galen, living with her granddaughter Addison on the farm, often experiences visions of Kenny, who tells her that he had hidden something of the Creeper on the farm, and it contains mysteries about the Creeper's past, so Galen must leave the farm and go. Grieving her son, Galen discovers the severed arm of the Creeper, and upon touching it, she experiences a vision of how the Creeper came into being. In the meantime, Addison steps out of the farm to fetch hay for her horse and meets her crush, Buddy. But during a hay delivery trip, Addison is abducted by the Creeper. The Creeper also gets hold of a bunch of teenagers, the bully Kirk and his friends, who went out riding on their dirt bikes and encountered the truck in the hills. Now, Sheriff Tashtego and Sergeant Tubbs hit the highway looking for the Creeper, and when they do, all the shots fired from their shotgun mysteriously reflect back at them without causing any damage to the Creeper. Officer Michael, who wanted to avenge the death of his loved ones, had procured an amped-up Vulcan cannon to kill the Creeper, but that too failed to pierce the walls of the Creeper's truck. Tashtego and the Creeper have a face-off in the nearby field, which ends with the Creeper slicing the sheriff's head in two. Back inside the Creeper's truck, Addison manages to escape the Creeper's torture attempts by attacking it with its own booby traps. As Addison reunites with grandmother Galen and friend Buddy, the Creeper enters Galen's farm to find the shriveled and severed hand hanging with a note that says, "We know what you are." The Creeper howls in rage, killing hundreds of ravens in the sky. Interestingly, Addison's friend Buddy is seen leaving on the same school bus the next morning that gets attacked by the Creeper in the second film. Jeepers Creepers 3 ends with Derry's sister Trish Jenner's narration from 23 years later. She reveals the Creeper's presence to the world in an online post, urging everyone to join the fight against this monster as it's about to wake up again. So folks, that's all the havoc that the Creeper wreaks for 3 whole movies. Now let's take a look at its favorite torture weapons. Battle Axe. To start things off, we've got the Creeper's trusty battle axe, the very first weapon it uses in the movies. Possibly made of iron or even sharpened stone, the battle axe appears to be a medieval weapon, hinting that the Creeper has survived for eons preying on the living. And given the Creeper's murderous nature and its gruesome hobby of using its victims to create weapons, the handle of the axe could very well be made with bone and muscle. One half of the battle axe has a sharpened half-moon blade, while the other half is an inverted trident. The Creeper uses it primarily for close-range attacks, such as decapitating victims or slashing them open with a swish. It's also got a sharp spade-shaped stone at the top like a spear, which can be very handy for stabbing prey. Its long and thick handle is sometimes wrapped with skin or leather for better grip. The battle axe is clearly the Creeper's favorite weapon, as given its weight and sharpness, the Creeper can easily cleave through human bones and metal with it. The Creeper prefers to wield this deadly axe when it's hunting on foot or when going in for the kill. In the first movie, when Derry and Trish were being escorted by the police to the church where the Creeper was hiding, the Creeper picks up on their scent and attacks the town cops with the battle axe and beheads the officer in one strike, with so much force that the chopped off head spins through the air and lands on the bonnet of the Jenner siblings' car. The battle axe returns in Jeepers Creepers 3 and is seen first when the Creeper stops the BEATNGU truck from being taken to the impound. One strike of the axe is able to break through the thick metal chains that tied the BEATNGU to the carrier vehicle. The Creeper takes out his battle axe once more to fight Sheriff Tashtego and drives it through the sheriff's head. In a dramatic scene, the Creeper walks away from the sheriff's corpse and telepathically calls for his battle axe to follow him. As the axe dislodges from the sheriff's face, it slices his head open vertically. Bone daggers. The Creeper takes great interest and uses extreme precision while crafting his bone daggers, which appear in the second movie. After it kidnaps Jack's son Billy from the cornfield, the Creeper accidentally leaves behind one such bone dagger. The Creeper's collection of daggers is similar but not identical, as this sadist monster likes to carve these tools from the different body parts of its victims. It seems that the Creeper uses ribs, jawbones, femurs, or even spines to design the handle of the dagger that holds the sharp blades, sometimes with serrated edges or even hooks. Some of the daggers also have handles made with fused muscle and cartilage, while some are grotesquely wrapped in human skin and muscle. The Creeper takes great pride in his bone daggers and uses them both for close combat and as throwing weapons, with extreme accuracy. The flesh-eating dagger, the first dagger that shows up in the movie, bears intricate carvings on it, almost like a painting. It shows a clawed and horned and winged demonic figure hovering over a fallen individual who's screaming in fear, with the sun settling in the background. It could very well be a depiction of the Creeper's hunt and contain traces of the Creeper's victims. Fan theories suggest that these carvings contain mystical symbols, connecting the Creeper's murderous spree to a ritualistic behavior, almost like a shamanic being. Some of the bone daggers are also believed to contain the souls of their victims, granting some sort of supernatural ability or a psychic connection to the Creeper. The flesh-eating dagger appears to be partially sentient, as it springs out of Jack's hands and stabs the table lamp without any provocation. The Creeper takes out another dagger to attack the stranded students at night. It throws the dagger with such precision that it pierces Scotty's arm and pins him to a tree. It takes the might of 3 of his friends to pull the dagger out of Scotty's arm. However, the bone dagger that the Creeper left behind at Jack Taggart's cornfield turned out to be his nemesis, as Jack built a gigantic homemade harpoon and attached the bone dagger to the end of the spear. It's with this dagger-edged spear that Jack finally managed to take down the Creeper by stabbing it multiple times through the head. In Jeepers Creepers 3, the monster uses multiple bone daggers to impale its victims, but the daggers are mostly attached to the traps in his truck. For example, the first dagger that appears remains attached to the end of a rope and it pierces through a police vehicle. This dagger is unusually long and bears elaborate engravings about the Creeper's monstrous form and its hunting rituals. It's also exceptionally sharp as it stabs through Kirk's leg and turns out to be extremely difficult to dislodge. Another time the Creeper opts for a dagger is when it discovers Addison is still alive inside the truck. It's a half-moon-shaped dagger made of bone, given its milky white color, and extremely sharp, considering the Creeper wanted to slice open Addison with it. Throwing stars. The Creeper's infamous shuriken collection also appears in the sequel, 2003's Jeepers Creepers 2. Shuriken are throwing stars traditionally used by samurais or ninjas as distraction weapons or even to kill. The Creeper fashioned these Japanese weapons from the bones of its victims. The Creeper chisels human bones in sharp shapes and uses 4 of them to create each shuriken, joined at the center with some black goo, seemingly some sort of metal or a disgusting blend of human flesh and other substances from the Creeper's makeshift laboratory. The shuriken are razor-sharp and multi-pronged and often contain teeth, fingers, or the vertebrae of the Creeper's victims, and thus they usually have jagged, uneven edges. Much more crude than the sophisticated ninja stars, but also equally lethal. The Creeper also gets creative while designing his shuriken, which shows just how much he enjoys creating terrifying weapons. One shuriken in Jeepers Creepers 2 had human teeth embedded at the center, which served as a major clue about the killer to the characters. The Creeper also makes a reference to killing Derry Jenner from the first film by making a shuriken out of Derry's belly button. The chiseled bones in this particular throwing star were joined together at the center with the skin around Derry's navel, which could easily be identified by Derry's rose tattoo. These throwing bone stars are used to slash tires, disarm fleeing victims, and even as execution tools by the Creeper. In Jeepers Creepers 2, the Creeper throws a bone shuriken to puncture the tire of the school bus, prompting driver Betty to say, "I don't know what it is, but it's as sharp as a son of a bitch." Betty even cuts her finger trying to take the shuriken out, and then wonders how sharp it must be to puncture an extremely sturdy tire. Meanwhile, the football team coaches Charlie and Barnes freak out seeing a human tooth embedded in the tire. Interestingly, this is also when the school bus radio broadcasts the news that a serial killer is on the loose and its victims have missing teeth. The Creeper bursts the tires with another shuriken, the one made with Derry's parts, later that night, to stall the school bus on a deserted highway, and then it begins to prey on the crew. Later, the monster also kills the student Jake by lodging a shuriken into his head when he was running through a deserted field. The Creeper's shuriken also appears in the very first scene of Jeepers Creepers 3. Aimed at a victim, this shuriken appears to be made of human knuckles and rotates at an incredible speed, cutting through the crisp night air. The Creeper takes out the shuriken again during the epic confrontation with the Poho County Sheriff cops towards the end of the third movie. It throws a knuckled shuriken fitted with human teeth towards Sergeant Tubbs and blocks his pistol. The Creeper again takes one out to attack Addison, but misses when she trips on a stone and falls. Bone Javelin, a brand new weapon that appears in Jeepers Creepers 3, the handcrafted Bone Javelin. This ranged weapon has a sharp blade that looks similar to the bone daggers, which means the blade of the javelin is also carved out of human bones and cartilage. It's got the same wavy pattern as the daggers and is used by the Creeper as a long-range weapon. The long handle of the weapon is seemingly wrapped in human skin, as it's got a gruesome fleshy look. and the blade and the shaft are connected with more fleshy human parts. The Creeper throws it with extreme accuracy. He even shuts one eye to set his target perfectly. In an iconic scene, the Creeper skewers two of Kirk's friends with one throw of the Javelin, and the teenagers, stabbed through the heart with the Javelin, die instantly while being pinned to a tree. The Javelin seems to respond to the Creeper's commands as it simply waved its hand and the Javelin appeared from the truck. The Creeper also has a makeshift storage compartment for the Javelin in its truck. Later in the movie, the Creeper also attacked Addison with the Bone Spear. Talons and Wings. So we all saw the Creeper sprout wings in the first movie and use them effectively as a weapon. Also, interestingly, when Trish manages to run the Creeper over with her car, not once but several times, the monster gets seriously injured. Its wings get tattered, and the torn-off boots reveal the presence of talons instead of toes at the end of its feet. In addition to his crazy collection of weapons, the Creeper also uses its pair of wings and claws for offensive attacks. With its claws, the Creeper tears through the truck of the cops in the very first movie and rips the metal roof open. With its talons, the Creeper also manages to bend the metal bars of the holding cells inside the police station. The monster digs its claws into an innocent victim again in the very first scene of Jeepers Creepers 2 when it attacks and flies away with a young Billy who was helping his dad set up scarecrows in the farmland. The Creeper also attacks driver Betty with its talons when the school bus is stranded on a deserted highway and carries her away in the blink of an eye. Just a few seconds later, the Creeper returns to the bus and digs its claws into Coach Barnes, who's still in shock from what just happened to Betty. The Creeper hooks its claws so deeply into Barnes that the combined force of the school jocks couldn't save Dwayne from being dragged away by the monster. With its talons, the Creeper also completely ripped off the roof of the car on the East 9 highway and chomped on its two passengers. Later, the Creeper also drags away Scotty by digging its claws into the boy. The Creeper also uses its hands to crush the skulls of its victims, like it did with Bucky inside the bus. The Creeper can use its wings as a killing weapon. It wrapped one of the students named Dante in its wings so tightly that the boy was visibly suffocating inside the wing membrane. When the fellow students attempted to drag Dante down, the Creeper tore off the boy's head with its wings to replace its own damaged head with a new one. In Jeepers Creepers 3, the monster uses its wings and talons mostly to carry prey away rather than attacking. At this point, the Creeper has developed a wide range of offensive weapons that it prefers over hand-to-hand combat. Creeper's Truck. We've saved the best for last, the BEATNGU. The Creeper's signature greenish-brown truck, the BEATNGU, appears in the initial scenes of the 2001 movie when the Jenner siblings were driving through the North Florida countryside. The Creeper honks at them intimidatingly and later chases their car with the truck, slamming the car multiple times with the BEATNGU. The interior of the truck is only revealed towards the end of the movie. It's got a caged storage filled with blood-stained human corpses, semi-dead victims, and torture tools. Machetes, knives, hanging ropes, carving weapons, bone daggers of various shapes and sizes, chains, tridents, you name it, and the truck's got it. This large, old-fashioned vehicle is fitted with a cowcatcher on the front, and it's used to transport the Creeper's victims into the secret dungeon where it stores them. The Creeper also uses it to intimidate potential victims like it did with the Jenner siblings. Interestingly, the truck's number plate, BEATNGU, is often confused as BEATNGU, but it actually stands for the Creeper's motto, Be Eating You. The BEATNGU is a rusted 1941 Chevy COE panel truck, but its tattered appearance is seemingly a deception, as somehow the bulky vehicle can reach extremely high speeds of up to 100 miles per hour and is extremely durable. This has sprouted several fan theories that the truck has some sort of supernatural power and is bound to the Creeper's life. Based on the symbols inside the truck as seen in Jeepers Creepers 3, fans also theorize that it can absorb the souls of the Creeper's victims. The interior of the truck, inscribed with strange ruins, sort of hints at this possibility. This iconic truck is missing for most of the second film as the Creeper mostly hunts on foot and in the air. But by the third film, the Creeper had made literally truckloads of deadly modifications to the BEATNGU. Let's take a look at them. We'll start with the Booby Traps. The most inhumane of all the modifications is the booby-trapped interior, which ensures that any prisoner attempting to escape is killed instantly. The retractable, spiky traps on the back of the truck also prevent suspicious intruders from getting too close to the truck to drive it away or learn about the contents inside. For example, during the initial scenes in the movie, when the town cops get suspicious of the old, ragged truck, they forcefully open the doors and discover corpses and police scanners inside. Seeing all the torture weapons, one of the officers describes the vehicle as a slaughterhouse on wheels. Meanwhile, another cop gets too close to the doors, prompting 2 sets of retractable spikes to emerge from the top and bottom of the door frame, sandwiching the cop's arm in between, all thanks to the spiked floor panels that pierce through intruders. The spikes are activated again when the teenager Kirk and his friends try to damage the truck in the middle of the woods. At first, it invites the teenagers by opening its doors, and then it sets off the booby traps one by one. Driver's Seat Spear. The Creeper's driver door is also equipped with a singular spear that can be released from inside to kill anyone attempting to get into the passenger seat or trying to escape through the passenger door. That's exactly how Kirk dies when he tries to escape the truck by opening the passenger door. The spear comes out of the trap on the side of the seat and pierces his skull. Well, this actually backfired against the Creeper once when he attempted to kill Addison and chased her down to the passenger seat. The spear pierced through the Creeper's skull and popped its right eyeball out. This visibly imbalanced the Creeper as he struggled to pursue Addison afterwards. The truck also comes with rear door spikes, which means the back doors can release spiky obstacles on the road to derail or block or pop the tires of any car that's chasing the Creeper. Rolling mines and bombs. Another dangerous ability of the BEATNGU is that it's loaded with small explosives and mines, which can be released to blast off the pursuers. The Creeper dropped several spherical bombs from the back of the truck when Sergeant Tubbs and Sheriff Tashtego were chasing the truck, attempting to blast off the cop car. But Tashtego managed to swerve just in time, and Tubbs destroyed the bombs by shooting at them. However, they weren't so lucky the second time when the bombs exploded near the cop car and sent it crashing into a nearby field. Exhaust pipe shooters. The Creeper has also modified the truck to shoot spears out from its exhaust pipes, not to mention the retractable cables that can drag victims off their feet and bring them directly into the truck's booby-trapped belly. When Sheriff Tashtego arrived to investigate the truck, his presence prompted one of the pipe shooters to fire off on its own. There was a dagger attached at the end of the rope which pierced through the sheriff's car. This dagger was particularly long and had more elaborate carvings on it than the one seen earlier. The carvings depicted the Creeper, its hunt scenes, and its victims. After scaring the cops, the rope and the dagger retracted into the exhaust pipe on its own. Later, when Kirk and his friends try to speed away from the truck on their bikes, one of the shooters goes off and lodges itself into Kirk's leg, knocking him from his moving bike. Just when his friends were about to yank the dagger from his calf, the rope started retreating into the exhaust pipe, dragging Kirk along with it and pinning him to the truck's walls. Bulletproof Exterior. The Creeper has also given the truck an extremely bulletproof outer layering to the point that the bullets bounce off its walls and hit the shooter back. This feature extends to the tires as well. When Sheriff Dan Tashtego and Sergeant Davis Tubbs were chasing the BEATNGU, they wanted to take out the tires and fired multiple shots from their speeding police car. But they were surprised to learn that all the shots ricocheted off the truck's walls without any sign of damage. Sheriff Tashtego immediately started warning Officer Michael against shooting at the BEATNGU, but Michael missed the signals and fired multiple rounds of a barrel gun loaded onto his car. Even those powerful rounds, fired from a close range, did no damage to the BEATNGU's exterior. They bounced off the walls and windshield and destroyed Michael's vehicle, killing him and his driver. The third film also reveals that the Creeper can control its vehicle with telepathic powers, as the truck was able to respond to the Creeper's commands on its own, suggesting the vehicle may have some sort of sentience. And it was even able to reload itself following the Creeper's gestures. The Creeper, without being in the driver's seat, can operate the truck and make it fight alongside him. When the cops were investigating the contents of the truck in the film, its doors shut on them automatically, without the Creeper being anywhere nearby. Also, the Creeper was able to steer the truck any direction it wanted while standing on the roof. Now that we've explored the Creeper's weapons from the first 3 movies, let's take a look at how his arsenal changed in the 4th film, Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Jeepers Creepers Reborn. A reboot of the Jeepers Creepers film series titled Jeepers Creepers Reborn was released in 2022. This movie reimagines the Creeper with its signature traits and gives it the signature killing tools, but somewhat differently from the previous films. The Creeper's arsenal in this refreshed version is more primitive and crude, but sort of less elaborate. Reborn 2 has a detailed storyline, but it was criticized for failing to deliver the jump scares and the horror elements of the iconic trilogy. Reborn begins with the Creeper tailgating an old couple along the Louisiana highway after the couple sees the Creeper dumping corpses into a large pipe by an abandoned house, just like the Jenner siblings did in the 2001 movie. As the Creeper loses track of the couple, it replaces the BEATNGU number plate with a valid one and drives towards Louisiana, while the couple changes direction and goes back to the house to investigate the matter. Years later, the young couple, Chase and Lane, drive into rural Louisiana to attend the Horror Hound Festival and are noticed by a mysterious lady named Manila, who describes Lane as a tree-bearing fruit because she's pregnant. Lane's boyfriend Chase is obsessed with everything paranormal and takes great interest in the local legend of the Creeper. At the festival, Chase and Lane go to a shooting stall and discover a bunch of shuriken, believed to be from the Creeper's personal collection. Lane realizes she's really good at throwing them, but when she cuts her finger, she experiences strange visions of a sacrificial cult. As Chase and Lane explore the festival, they participate in a raffle hosted by a certain Madame Carnage and win a chance to spend the night at the nearby abandoned Barnabet house. It's been transformed into an escape room. Meanwhile, the Creeper has awakened from its hibernation and has begun its hunting ritual. It flies away with Lane just as she was on her way to the haunted house and also kills the camera person. Then it returns to the house to kill Chase and the rest of the crew. Lane manages to escape the Creeper's lair and reunites with Chase at the house. Lane, who is pregnant, realizes through her visions that the Creeper wants her unborn baby. She also realizes that the Horror Hound Festival organizers secretly worship the Creeper and sacrifice humans to the Creeper by luring them into the haunted house. Lane draws the Creeper away from her friends and then stabs it in the face with its own shuriken, taking out its eyes. Meanwhile, Chase and the local guide Stu manage to impale the Creeper with the weather vane. A murder of crows descends on the Creeper and eats it away, while the cops arrive to find Lane and Chase walking away from the house, covered in blood. Now let's talk about the weapons that the Creeper uses in this movie. This particular Creeper relies more on stealth, close-quarter combat, and surprise attacks, and it isn't quite the strategic tool-wielding predator of the previous movies. Hence, its weapons are also a little less detailed and are mostly rust and bones. The BEATNGU gets a makeover, is scarlet in color, and appears more as the Creeper's transport vehicle than his arsenal on wheels. The Creeper's iconic weapons appear as tiny little clues in the movie before the monster actually strikes out with them. For example, a shuriken was seen lodged in a tree in the forest by the Louisiana highways, and a bone dagger, carved out of bone, was found in an antique shop outside the city. Even the battle axe is rusty from not being used for decades, and it's a lot more rough-hewn than the previous sophisticated one. It still has the half-moon blade on one side and the reverse trident on the other, but the handle is made of metal instead of wood. The shuriken and the battle axe are the first weapons that the Creeper reaches for after it awakens from his 23 years of slumber. However, the Creeper fashions a unique makeshift weapon after waking up from his hibernation. It finds some large meat hangers in his shed and places them on tree trunks with the help of metal chains. The Creeper claimed its first victim by hanging the man on the meat hanger and then slicing up his chest with the shuriken. The Creeper also picks up some of its old handcrafted shuriken that were on display at the Horror Hound Festival. These two are made of human bones joined with human flesh and metals and adorned with the teeth of his victims. Another weapon that the Creeper finds really handy is a hammer, made with a single block of stone attached to a rope-covered handle. The Creeper uses one of its bone daggers to slice open Lane's stomach and kills the camera person Michael by deeply scarring his chest with its talons. He also uses a bear trap to injure a victim and kills another crew member with a club fitted with nails, but he uses the club to stab the victim instead of bludgeoning him. Marvelous verdict! So folks, that's all there is to know about the Creeper's torturous arsenal. The Creeper's handcrafted weapons are proof that nothing from his victims goes to waste, and the Creeper's trusty old truck ensures that as long as it's operational, nothing can really harm this monster. No wonder the Creeper's been around for centuries and nothing's been able to kill it. So, which of the Creeper's weapons creeped you out the most? Is it the shuriken or the bone daggers? Don't forget to let us know in the comments section down below. Thanks a ton for watching, stay tuned for more marvelous content, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.